I made this tiered gather skirt as a beginner, and it is actually easier than it looks. Let me show you step by step how to make it. For this tutorial, I'll be making use of a pattern paper, and the measurements which you'll be needing for this particular skirt is the length of your skirt, your hip, and also your waist. So I went ahead to take those measurements because I will be dividing my length into 3 because I want the steps of my skirt to be 3 steps. So I went ahead to impute my measurements, and for my skirt length measurement, I went ahead to divide 42 inches into 3. 42 divided into 3 gave me 14, but I do not want my skirt steps to be equal. I don't want all of them to be equal, so I'm going to be using 11 inches for my first step. Then for my second step, I'll be making use of 16 inches, and then for my third step, I'll be making use of 15 inches. So if you go ahead to calculate all the inches I got, all the steps, if you calculate them together, they are going to amount to 42 inches, which is my skirt length. I went ahead to calculate those numbers which I got, and everything amounted to the 42 inches for my skirt length. So I'll be measuring my first step, which is from here to this place, 11 inches. Then from this point here to this other point, I'm going to divide my hip measurement into 2. Then I'll add 5 inches for ease allowance, because I want my skirt to be very full. Divide my hip into 4 plus 5 inches, whatever I had, I wrote that down. So for my second step, from this point here to this point here, it is going to be 16 inches. And then from this point to this point here, it's going to be 29 inches, because I added 5 inches to 24 inches, which was the first step, and then it gave me 29. So for my third step, from this point here to this point here is going to be 15 inches. And then again, from this point here to this point here, I added 6 inches to what I had on my second step, and it gave me 35 inches. So that's it for the pattern cutting. I went ahead to cut out the fabric using my pattern paper. I cut out all the 3 pieces. So now let's move on to the next step, which is joining all the pieces together. So I brought out my first piece, which is the top piece, 11 inches. So I'm going to fold it in, and I'm going to sew it with half of an inch, because we are going to place an elastic in this casing that we are creating now. So we are going to sew half inch so that our elastic will pass through. After sewing, this is how it is. So I brought in my half inch of elastic, and I'll be measuring my waist measurement, my exact waist measurement. Then I'll deduct 3 inches from it. Since it is an elastic, I wouldn't want it to be very tight or very loose, so I had to remove 3 inches from my waist to get what I want. And I used my safety pin, which is an easy way to pass an elastic through the elastic casing without having any issues. Liking this video so far, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, you're welcome. In this channel, we post weekly videos on beginner friendly sewing So if that is what you're interested in, then you should hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get notified anytime we post a new video. Moving on to the second step, I'll go ahead to my sewing machine and I'll make half an inch of loose stitch on the top like this, just half of an inch loose stitch. After sewing, I went ahead to start making gathers on this second part. Then I went ahead to make a knot on the edge of the other line of the thread so that the gathers that I'm making wouldn't pull out from that particular end. So I went ahead to start dragging the rope. I took one of my rope and I'll drag along like that so that I'll make gathers on this particular second step. I hope you are catching on so far, right? If not, please leave a comment on where it's confusing to you, then I would explain it much better to your understanding. So I went ahead to make my gathers and I'm adjusting my gathers to be around 24 inches. So I brought it down so that you can see it very well. I'm adjusting the gathers to be 24 inches, which is the first step, which is for the first step, so that when I'm joining this second step to the first step, it's going to be equal at the edges. So I brought in my first step to check if the length is already 24 inches, but when I finished checking, it wasn't up to 24. So I had to take it out and then start adjusting my second step so that it will be equal to the first step. Now at this point, I've checked it and it is already the same length as my first step. So I'll be joining it with half of an inch. Then I went ahead to gather my third step and I'll make it the length of my second step. I went ahead to adjust it to be the same length as my second step so that the edges will be together when I'm sewing it. So this is me adjusting it, and after adjusting it, I'll use half an inch to sew it together. And this is where I finished sewing it together and it is looking so beautiful already. Then what I'll do next is I'll bring the two edges together and I'm going to stitch them down using half of an inch. This is it for the tutorial. It is very easy, beginner friendly. Tell me what you think about it on the comment section. After I've finished coupling it, then I'll sew the hemming part. I'll close the hemming part, and this is it for the skirt. Very easy, beginner friendly. Thank you for watching. See you in my next one. Bye guys.